Hey, this is Chuck Garric from Beasto Blanco and Alice Cooper, and you are listening or watching Nashville on the Rocks.
Welcome back to another electrifying episode of Nashville on the Rocks. I'm your host, Lisa Karkos, and tonight we're turning the volume all the way up. We talk a lot about talent in this town, but today's guest is a true artist and a force of nature who brings a little NYC grit down to Music City. He's an absolute guitar virtuoso who's taken his six-string skills across the globe, sharing stages with legends like Peter Murphy, the industrial heavyweights KMFDM, and the new wave legends Blondie. But his resume runs so much deeper than that. From founding NYC cult favorite bands Popstar Kids and BlackSugar Transmission to collaborating with Saigon Kick's Jason Bieler and trading licks and guitar duels with legends like Andy Wood and Living Colour's Vernon Reid, this man does it all. He's also a teacher, a producer, and a good friend of the show's. In fact, you can hear his incredible guitar work all over Jerry Gaskill of King's X's solo record Love and Scars, produced by our very own co-host D.A. Karkos. He's even lent his skills to D.A.'s own project, Darkest Daylight. So sit back and grab your favorite drink as we hope you'll enjoy the episode with our friend, the one and only Andee BlackSugar. Hey, Andee. Oh, my God. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Hello.
Hi.
How should I sit?
This is perfect. You're doing a great job already. You've
like
got it
job
down.
Interview, kind of?
Job interview.
Or like, you know.
Yeah, like a little kid.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh, my God. It's such an honor to be here.
Yeah. How would you...
Or should it be like the... This is my 10th interview of the day. No, I didn't listen to Kiss growing up.
Oh, man, this is going to be a fun one, dude.
Yeah. How about you just enjoy yourself like you're going to your favorite bar?
With a microphone installed right next to my stool.
Exactly.
Just like my local back home.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. There's so much to say about that. For everyone who is watching or listening, we have Andee BlackSugar in the house. This is so exciting, for a lot of reasons. But
and can I jump in, babe?
Sure.
I just want to let fans of the show and anybody who knows me probably heard this guy's name for the last, I don't know how many years though, but I've always been trying to push this guy's music out front, and he's a really good friend of mine, and I've been enamored with his music and his abilities since I met him. So everybody enjoy and welcome Andee BlackSugar.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, I want to say, first of all, I apologize for all the unsubscribes you're going to get because I'm not from Nashville. I can just hear people clicking like the subscribe button to the ejector seat from this channel, because not only am I not from Nashville, I'm from New York City. I'm from the East Coast.
yes.
I never even thought of coming to Nashville.
Oh, man, you can't say that while you're in Nashville, man.
I am just an absolute blight on the history of this channel, and I think that I've basically poisoned the reservoir of Nashville-ness that you've established here.
Or you've opened a door for other guests.
You're
to
so
come
punk
in.
rock.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I'm punk rock. I've upset the status quo.
No, I think this is actually perfect because it's going to be so fitting regardless. I eventually want to get to a point where we have a lot more guests that maybe aren't from Nashville or don't live here now, but we can do great music interviews with as well. And so I'm really looking forward to this. So yes.
Right. Me too.
So you're not from New York City, but you moved there. But where are you from?
Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I lived in like 3 different towns when I was growing up, but mostly Philadelphia suburbs.
Nice.
Yeah, very suburban kind of Pennsylvania, boilerplate upbringing, nice, modest, but nice. Mm-hmm. And, but New York City was always a stone's throw away.
Yeah, it's not that far.
It's not that far. I mean, you can get there in 2.5 hours by car or by bus. Mm-hmm. And I was always enamored with New York City just from growing up watching Dave Letterman.
Yeah.
Like I just
the late night shows.
New York City was such a big feature of that show, and I was always enamored with the music scene of the 70s and 80s from New York. And I subscribed to the Village Voice. Mm-hmm. What a slap in the face it was when I moved to New York City and realized that the Voice is actually free.
Oh,
that you can get it on the corner for free. I've been paying for it.
That's just your fee for living in Pennsylvania.
But yeah, that's exactly. It's the penalty of not being a New Yorker. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like when you go into New York, you pay a toll, but when you leave New York, no toll.
No toll.
No charge to go to New Jersey.
Hey, Andy, what is the toll these days on?
I have no idea. I have no idea, really. I'm so out of touch with driving. I haven't had a car since I moved to the city. That's
2010,
funny.
it was, I think, $8. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
To get into the city?
Yeah.
I think you're right.
It sounds expensive even then.
It's at least twice that now. Was it a musical family? Sort of. My mom's a musician. My mom studied music in school, but she was kind of like a semi-professional. Like she was mainly like the choir director at church.
At church?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But there was a piano in the house. I was not forced to take piano lessons or any of that kind of thing. I came into music strictly on my own terms. I kind of found my own music, and I ultimately picked up the guitar. But yeah, there was music in the house. My mom played a lot of classical music, which I think was a good influence on my musical intellect, probably. Just, it's what they call high information music.
Sure.
So it probably made me more able to grasp sophisticated musical concepts. Not to say that I'm that sophisticated, but
no, you are. Go ahead. Say it.
No. I'm not. I'm really a rock musician. But having that background of classical music in the house, I think, was good. And it could have been an awful lot worse. Some people's parents have terrible taste in music. And that gets... what was your...
And you can tell, right, man?
What were you listening to?
My dad was okay. My dad listened to nothing but 1950s rock and roll.
Okay.
Nothing past 1962 unless it was Kenny Rogers or Neil Diamond. That was his thing after that. My mom listened to Air Supply. And every 80s slow ballad that was on Top 40, just on repeat over and over. And she did listen to some ABBA. She liked ABBA, which I can get behind, but like if you play Air Supply now, I'm just going to invert. Like, you're gonna
implode. Just like crumple inwards.
Yeah, I don't even know which album it was, but it was like all their slow ballads, and I was like, I can't do this. Like
they don't have non-ballads, do they?
Right? I don't know, but there was one time I remember being in the car as a kid, and I was really young, and she just flipped the tape over and like started again. And I was like, it was so bad.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. God. You said you kind of grew, like, you discovered your own music through rock.
Well, I discovered rock. I kind of discovered that on my own. I remember, like, being a kid and being in the car, and something would come on the radio, and I'd hear an electric guitar, and I'd just go, ooh, what's that?
Did your parents would immediately turn the channel? Was that their thing?
No, not especially. Not really. I don't remember. I just remember whenever I heard an electric guitar, especially like a distorted electric guitar, I would kind of get a little tingle, like, oh, that's exciting. I don't know why, but that's like a really cool sound. But for me, there was a like a throwing of the switch moment where I became a music fan, and it was hearing a cover band play Another One Bites the Dust in the gymnasium at school at a pep rally.
Oh, that's
when
fun.
I was in the 7th grade. So I was probably like about to turn 12. And I don't know why it was that song or that moment, but it was the moment that totally changed my whole life. Like, I went home from school a different person. I was like, I need to know everything now about that song, who wrote that song, and I need to know, I need to hear more stuff that gives me this feeling.
Sure.
So Queen was my first favorite band just because of that random occurrence. And then it would just seem like my antenna was up, and I was listening to the radio all the time, and I was just hearing stuff that was anything with guitars in it was really like piquing my interest.
Oh, that's cool.
And I gradually found myself like wanting to hear heavier and heavier guitar things, bands that had heavy guitars all the time. Queen had that a little bit, but Queen's albums were really eclectic. And when I started listening to like AC/DC and Van Halen and Black Sabbath, that was where now you could get a whole album where all the songs are have the guitars like completely turned up. And so I kind of found myself becoming a metalhead.
Nice.
So that was my early years were kind of a strict diet of metal. And yeah, I was just kind of enamored with the electric guitar as like a fetish object. But I didn't really try to play one until I turned 15, and that was sort of a pretty late age to start. But I guess I felt like I probably wouldn't be good at it because it seemed like an athletic thing almost.
Okay.
And I was like a scrawny little kid, and I wasn't into sports, and I thought, I could never do that. That just seems like the guys that are playing the kind of guitar that I really love seem like they're just touched by the hand of God or something. Like,
but so Andy, when you're listening to these bands like Queen and stuff like that, and it got you enamored with these bands with the guitar, did you bypass the vocal thing and go right to the sound of the guitar type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I really zeroed in on the guitar. I mean, of course I responded to singers, and I listened to everything that was going on in the song. But the guitar was always the thing that really kind of lured me in. So I sort of, I was an avid air guitarist, and then I started making cardboard cutout guitars where I would draw in all the details with a magic marker, and I had a whole collection of those. I had
so cute.
a Les Paul and a Flying V and an SG and a Strat and an Explorer.
Oh, wow.
And I always knew I was, I'm left-handed, and I always knew I was going to play left-handed, so they were all made for my particular inclination.
Dude, that's wild. Did you go to the guitar stores in the time and be like, could you make one of these? And you just hand them the cardboard guitar?
I should have. No, but at some point I did eventually come across a real guitar, and it was at my grandmother's house, and there was this guitar sitting in a closet just behind some clothes, and it was right-handed. And I remember I picked it up, and I was like, just wondering, like, what is this thing? I picked the low string. I was like, that sounds kind of cool. Like, if this was an electric guitar, that might sound amazing. And I was like, what if I just like... Oh my God, I think I'm playing guitar.
I never heard that riff before, Andy.
But yeah, it was just that just gave me enough confidence that I was like, can I bring this guitar home? Can I just can I take this? And my grandmother let me have it. So
why did your grandma have a guitar?
Well, I think it belonged to one of my uncles, because I had a couple uncles that kind of had been guitar players.
Dabbled
in guitar. So so I took that thing home, and I just played on it with the strings upside down for a while.
Oh my gosh.
And then at some point we thought maybe we should take this to the music store and have it restrung.
Okay.
So they did that, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I wasn't really that excited about it because it was acoustic. And
but you stuck with it.
Well, it wasn't that long before, I think I plunked around on that thing for about 6 months before my 15th birthday, which is when I got my first electric, and I begged for one. Mm-hmm. And my parents kind of reluctantly agreed, but they bought it for me, and I think they were worried that, I wasn't going to stick with it. B, they thought we don't like this kind of music he listens to, so this is really taking him further down the road towards
It sounds like most
potentially
parents.
drug addiction and Satan worship.
Satan worshiping.
And but it was sort of, I just remember this acoustic guitar was sort of like, I'm just biding my time with this thing. I know that when I get an electric guitar, all these things I'm playing are going to sound killer.
Yep.
So yeah, I managed to get them to buy me a proper electric guitar for my 15th birthday, and once I had that, I was off to the races.
And unstoppable.
You couldn't get it out of my hands. It was just completely. It was the absolute thrill of a lifetime to have a guitar.
But so they also bought you a proper amp, right, to go with that guitar with the electric, distortion and all that?
The amp was a little trickier. I ended up buying my first amp I bought from some kid who was sort of in the neighborhood, a little bit older than me, also played guitar. And he sold me this ancient K amplifier. It was 2 pieces. It was like a head and a cabinet, but it was only like 5 watts. So,
oh, wow.
And it had a reverb chamber, but it had no distortion. So I remember plugging into it for the first time and being so disappointed because it was like a surf rock amp. And I was like, well, what's the point of this? I might as well play an acoustic.
Right.
But I remember I would plug it, I'd take the headphone jack out of the amp and plug it into my stereo, and I would overdrive the stereo, and that gave me a little bit of distortion. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. But no, eventually my parents got me a little PV practice amp, and that had like a distortion switch.
Okay.
Now I was like, okay, this is the kind of guitar I want to play, I wanted distortion. That was the sound that I was excited about.
You wanted the balls of the guitar.
Yeah.
God.
But, I have a shared experience or a mutual, I don't know, what am I trying to say? I have the same
common experience.
There you go, a common experience. Me and my brother, Andre, you know him, and we were like so psyched, man. We all knew the AC/DC songs and everything, and on the acoustic, and then my dad bought us an amp with no reverb or nothing. It was just an old amp with nothing, and we were so disappointed in it. It sucked,
That was the purposeful thing that your dad
and
did.
then we just gave up, man. We just stopped playing guitar the whole bit, and that was it. Stop playing.
Yeah, that was it.
And that's why you're a plumber today.
That's why.
And now you're off to the races. You're doing everything that you can. Let's talk first bands. What did that look like?
Well, I lucked out because I met a couple of kids that were my age that, maybe 6 months after I got that guitar, who were about 6 months into their journey, and they were brothers, drummer and a bass player, and they had a basement. So it was perfect. So I could just go over to their house and we could make all this racket in the basement. We never got a singer, unfortunately. So we were just playing a lot of instrumental covers of entry-level heavy metal songs.
Nice.
Whatever we could manage with our limited skills. Breaking the Law.
Yes.
Paranoid, nothing with double bass. That was out of the question.
All the staples, though, right?
Yeah, just anything that was within our abilities, and we played the talent show and stuff, and that was fun. But we never got pro, really. We never because we never had a singer. So my first real band was a cover band that I joined. It was some older people that were in an established cover band. And I just wanted to get out and play just in front of people, with people. And so I was just like, well, I'll just do this for a while. And I kind of got my feet wet playing in this is sort of Reading, Allentown area of Pennsylvania. Playing in bars. I was underage, and drinking underage in bars. And that was kind of cool. But and then that led to like an original band, and that was where I wanted to be. And it was more metal and again, older guys, but like I'm like 18 or something and they're like 27. So like it was, they're really good players and it really like lifted my game, and it gave me a big confidence boost that they wanted me in their band.
Yeah.
And you're doing metal at this point too in this band? Or just
okay. I mean, I didn't know how to play anything but metal at that point. I was the kind of guitar player that had a distortion pedal that just lived on top of the amp, and it was just on all the time. It would never even occur to me to turn it off. So everything I played was palm muted. I was listening to Metallica and Megadeth and all this kind of stylized high gain rock, and that was all I was interested in for a good 5-6 years or whatever. But eventually my ears started to prick up at other kinds of music, and I would hear something like Prince or The Cure, and I'd be like, that's actually really cool in a totally different way. I want to kind of, learn how to make that kind of noise as well, and that involved turning off the distortion box, and experimenting with tone and different chord voicings and stuff like that. It just occurred to me at some point I didn't want to just be a metal guy.
Okay.
I wanted to be a little bit more adaptable, and I wanted to be the kind of guitar player that could hop on stage with a bar band and do a blues or something, or plug into somebody else's amp and not be scared. And just be adaptable and be able to kind of assimilate.
Is it fair to say, Andee, that you started listening to music maybe from a different perspective, like because it wasn't guitar heavy?
Absolutely.
And it wasn't, okay. So
well, I mean, I when I heard when I heard The Cure, it was like a whole new rebirth of like this is life starting over again. Like I can't believe. I can't believe that it was like a door opening into another world, and it was such a completely different kind of guitar. It was not virtuoso. I shouldn't say that. I mean, it's great guitar playing, but it was not ostentatious. There wasn't really soloing. It wasn't overtly technical. It was more textural. And I also found that I was equally excited by the sounds of synthesizers and other instruments, and I found myself more excited about the idea of painting a picture with music. The bands that I started out loving would have a guitar player with an amazing, crunchy, huge, stylized guitar sound that was always the same on every song.
Yeah.
Every Van Halen, Brian May. Brian May had this, really super, like he made his own guitar. He, had this, he tinkered and created this really unique sound, but that was his sound always, and it's still his sound to this day. Dimebag Darrell is like that. With The Cure, it was just sort of like, as I started listening to their catalog, I realized like Robert Smith just was not attached to any kind of gear. He played different guitars, different amps. And it seemed like every song was like starting over, like let's create a new sound palette for this song.
That's interesting.
Whereas a Van Halen record would be written always from the standpoint of Eddie's guitar sound, that one sound. And so it kind of took me out of this world of I have to have this particular guitar sound. It kind of made me feel more flexible and less attached to a certain kind of tone, and it made me really learn how to play more subtly, and plug in some pedals and maybe get some more atmospherics going, and just to do more with less sometimes. Sometimes a couple of really well placed notes with a bit of modulation and delay can really speak volumes, and instead of or just playing notes without a lot of without a ton of zhuzh on the notes, it didn't have to constantly be palm muting or vibratoing or bending or pinch harmonicking. Sometimes you just play a note.
I think people would be really confused about your path, because when I first saw you, and I know we're going to get to this point in New York, when I first met you, I saw this virtuoso guitar playing type of guy, but also brings in this huge quantity of songs that don't really have anything to do with that type of path,
I would say the metal bands made me want to play guitar, but bands like The Cure, and I'm just using The Cure as shorthand for the whole post-punk world, which was really my favorite era of music, which is all the stuff that kind of blossomed out of the original punk rock explosion. So, Public Image Limited and Susie and the Banshees, and The Cure, and going into Joy Division, New Order, Depeche Mode, all those kind of bands. Those bands made me want to be a songwriter because I was really inspired by the worlds that they created in their, the Cure, just again as shorthand for that whole movement, just had no limits as far as where they grabbed their inspiration from, and I found that really inspiring. And so those bands made me want to be a songwriter, and what I learned from them about the guitar is that it isn't really all about guitar. It's all about just a more the greater idea of a song, and then the guitar may or may not be involved in the song. You may not have any guitar, like the Cure song 6 Different Ways is one of my favorites. There's no guitar in it. Close to Me, I think, has no guitar. And then other songs would have a little bit of a guitar. Other songs would have a lot of guitar. Prince is like that. Prince can really play guitar. But if he doesn't feel like he needs it, he leaves it out. And I found that really inspiring. I love listening to an album where there's just a journey. Every song is like opening a door into a new room, and it's a kind of a different color scheme. So that was the ethos that I took when I started writing my own songs. And as far as being a guitar player or being technical or whatever, that was all kind of tertiary, really, to more important things.
Okay.
What's the overall mood of the song that I'm trying to establish, and what can I do with the guitar to help engender that kind of mood? The other big piece in the picture for me was electronic music and dance music, which has no guitar in it usually. But when I started listening to, I already mentioned New Order and Depeche Mode, which is electronic music, but it wasn't a huge leap for me to go from that to Chemical Brothers and Underworld and Basement Jaxx and Daft Punk and Autechre and Square Pusher and Aphex Twin and all these kind of things, which it utterly bewitched me how this music was being made. I had no idea how they were making it, and I found that so inspiring as far as just the idea of taking samples and manipulating them and making music out of that, using synths, loops, machine content, sort of machine content mixed with human content. Like that whole juxtaposition was really, really exciting to me. And I thought that this was music that was using unprecedented sounds, and it really inspired me to move away from this idea of being like a trad rock band kind of thing. I didn't want to be in a band that kind of sounded straight out of the garage. I wanted to have some level of a mixture of modernity in the guitar sounds, but also with combining synth sounds and machine elements and the guitar. I think if you're inspired by synths and really manipulated sounds, you can really do that kind of thing on the guitar with effects and stuff. And so that led me to making really unorthodox guitar sounds and just trying to get away from this I don't know, just the tried and true, bass, drums, guitar template for writing a song. So that was just another component to the whole thing.
No, that's so interesting. That kind of makes me wonder, are there any other, who are you listening to, guitar player wise at the time, even that was creating sounds like that? It's something you mentioned Prince, but U2, Edge, that reminds me of a lot of stuff he was doing.
He's definitely out there, and you can't avoid him. He's great. I was really inspired by the shoegaze guitarists. The shoegaze movement I consider that a vestige of post-punk, but that's more of an early 90s thing with My Bloody Valentine and Swerve Driver and they did a lot of crazy stuff with manipulating guitar sounds with pedals and studio manipulation, and so guys like Kevin Shields and Adam Franklin and what's his name, Garcia from Curve. It was called shoegaze because these guys had pedals on the floor and they were constantly looking down at their pedals. Some journalist gave him that name. I'm sure they all hate being called that, but that was a movement that was really inspiring to me. But as far as what I'm talking about, I mean, I don't particularly know of any guitar players that really were doing what I'm talking about. Where I'm taking my style with the idea of unorthodox guitar sounds and stuff like that is kind of where I get off the main road, and now I'm going down my own little road.
Yeah.
And I'm not really being inspired by other guitar players anymore.
Okay.
So I think that at a certain point, if you want to have your own style, you kind of have to get rid of the real obvious clues of your influences. I mean, I don't mind if certain things are a nod here and there. Like,
I know
here's
what
a
you're
little
saying.
Brian May nod, or here's a little whatever. Here's a trail of breadcrumbs to some of my favorites.
At this time, are you making music for yourself, or are you making it for other people?
I was always writing my own stuff. Like,
yeah.
That's another thing that I always had in me was this creative streak. Before I picked up the guitar, I was really good at drawing, and I made flip pad cartoons, and what made me happy was making stuff. So as soon as I picked up the guitar, as soon as I learned a couple power chords and learned some other riffs by other people, I was like, well, why can't I make riffs out of this same stuff? Because that's what they're doing.
Right.
So I'd make up my own riffs, and if I learned a pentatonic scale, I'd make up a riff with the pentatonic scale. So I always had a creative component. I was always recording myself. And I figured out how to do 2-track recording with my stereo and my sister's boombox, and
that's cool.
Eventually you got a 4-track and so on. But yeah, I was always writing. To me, that was just an inextricable part of the whole thing. And the idea of having your own voice is kind of, that's the whole point. The guitar players that I love, I don't love them because they sound like a million other guitar players. It's like, it's you want to be one of those people that, you play a couple of notes and people know that it's you kind of thing. And there's also, I'm not saying that everybody's like that either. I think some people actually like to assimilate and play like, maybe they get just as much joy playing like their favorite guitar players, but I have a bit of a contrarian streak and a repulsion for rampant conformity. I'm the kind of guy that, if I walk out my door and I see a bunch of guys walking around with backward baseball caps on and button-down shirts, the last thing I'm going to do is get a button-down shirt and a backwards baseball cap. So that it's the same thing with writing songs. I'm going to run in the opposite direction from the stuff that I hear everybody doing the most.
Yeah.
It's just like an aversion to that. So,
well, that makes sense with like getting into the style of music and starting it out. But I still think that there's a huge part that people overlook, that there's a huge level of confidence that goes with that. And because when you're in a band and you're, a lot of times you don't want to suck in front of other people. You want to be a good band. How do you know it's good? How do you know it's good? Until like, that's why people make music that sounds like other people. One, because they probably like it and they're getting used to it, but they want people to like it. If not, they would just be at home in their room.
And plus, man,
playing.
It's liberating to like not care about other people's opinions. So I think you kind of carry that unapologetic thing with you, and it's pretty obvious in your music.
I think the thing is that you're always gonna sound like you're chasing something if you're not just doing what you do best, because you're always going to be like, if you're trying to please people, you're always just going to be like not quite hitting the mark. You're always going to be like not pleasing them and not pleasing yourself. And I think that if you are pleasing yourself, then you're going to perform better because you're living in your comfort zone. Just speaking just in terms of guitar playing, it's pretty hard to try to copy another guitar player's style. I think things get interesting when you kind of play, you try to play something and it comes out a little bit wrong, but it's something that is like it's where your idiosyncrasies meet someone else's idea, and you find that your idiosyncratic way of playing things becomes the thing that is easiest for you to do, and at the same time it's the most unique thing you could possibly do. So once you realize like the weird quirky stuff in my playing is the stuff I need to promote, and the stuff that is obviously derivative, that's the stuff I need to jettison. Like as soon as you realize that, then first of all, you're working and you're fish in water because you're playing the stuff that comes naturally to you. And second of all, it comes across more authentic, my least favorite word. But you know, it does though. People know that it's real. It's coming from a real place, and then it is therefore much harder for anyone to copy.
Yeah.
So you want to be one of those people that's uncopyable, I think.
So what happened at that point when you decided to like move?
New York City was obvious to me. I was already going. I had already played a few shows up there. My bands would go up and play the odd show in New York, and whenever I was there, I was like, "Oh man, this just feels like where I should be." The energy and the possibilities that are just like the potentiality of just being there and breathing the same air as so many other people that are trying to do something great. It just it was obvious, and so yeah, my buddy and I found a sublet. Some guy for some reason agreed to let us live in his apartment for 3 months, and we moved in, and that was in 1996. And it was a completely different world.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, there was a period of time where we didn't even have a phone in the apartment, so to make contact with the outside world, we would have to go to the diner and use the payphone. But I just went out and put flyers up, and I answered ads in the Village Voice. I started playing in bands right away, and I kind of, I didn't know anybody in the city, so I had to go out. You just hit the ground running. Yeah, I just had to go out and be present and do things and start playing. And
were you in Brooklyn or were you in Manhattan when you first got there?
No, we found this apartment in this is a weird location, 58th and Broadway, which is kind of no man's land. It's like a place that shuts down at like 9 p.m. and it's kind of a ghost town. But that, it's just 3 months there, and then I found us a place in the East Village, and then once I moved there, it was kind of, things really started to blow up because that's where all the musicians were, all the venues, the rehearsal studios, and it was just a really cool, vibrant environment. And that's where I started playing in my early bands and played in all the venues that were around at the time, from Don Hill's and Brownies and CBGB's to Mercury Lounge and Knitting Factory. And
did you do Kenny's Castaways in the Lion's Den at all?
Yes.
Remember that? West Village, right?
Yeah. Not much though.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I basically did that for a couple of years, and I started putting my own band together because I just wanted to. I wanted to make some contacts. I wanted to figure out how to make a living in this city, which was a whole other thing. But I just started giving guitar lessons, and I had some band situations that paid, but there were others that I had to pay. So they kind of balanced each other out.
Sure.
And it was just, there was a moment where I was doing a little bit of everything, and I all of a sudden started getting offers to do different things, like being in a Smith Barney ad in the New York Times.
Oh, that's cool.
Being production assistant on a music video, or just random things like that. There's just so many things going on, and once you go out and meet people in New York, it's just there's just no limit to what you can do. So that was a little bit of a struggle, just figuring out how to get the bills paid as a musician. And I did have a part-time job for a little while, for a couple of years there, just to take the edge off the desperation,
Yeah, it's something about it's bold. All of it's so bold, like it's just going out and living your dreams. It's hard. So, and I mean, New York is not an easy. It's not an easy place to do it. Nashville, I think, is far more friendlier and accepting, and New York is very quick, very fast. Everybody's in your way.
I liked the brutality of New York, though.
That's a good word for it.
I really did, because I wanted to. I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to feel like I was good enough to be able to survive. Yeah. And I wanted to play with people that were really great musicians that made me better. I wanted all that. And it wasn't like I went there thinking, I'm going to make it, man. I'm going to move there. And within 2 years, I plan to, I just wanted to be there. I wanted to live there, make it my home. That's the difference between me and a lot of people that go to the city thinking that it owes them something, and they're going to, stardom awaits, wait till they get a load of me, right. I'm just gonna take off like a rocket as soon as New York City discovers my brilliance. Because you get there and you realize that there's a lot of other people with the same idea. But I just was just enamored with how much diversity, how much talent, how many different kinds of ideas are being presented, by people doing art. There's just every night of the week, there's just endless shows going on, and it's all about original music. Cool. And where I came from is all about covers.
Andy, could you talk about living, because I had the similar experience of moving to New York, and just want to know what your thoughts are about moving to a city with different types of people, all walks of life, coming from where you came from. What's the difference between the two, and did you learn anything, and did it validate anything about where you're from or about the city?
It just expanded my worldview to a degree that I can't even overstate. I mean, just if you grow up somewhere where everybody looks like you and everybody talks like you and everyone pretty much had the same kind of upbringing, it is going to limit your worldview a bit, and it's going to be very easy to otherize people who are not inside that. You go to New York City, immediately you're running around with people that are from different countries, different persuasions. The gays just loved me when I moved to New York. I went from not knowing any gay people to just being surrounded by the most loving, supportive people. And it was just it's not that, it's not that. I will say that I did come from a little bit of a bigoted part of the world,
in a nice way, though, right?
In a nice way. It's just that nobody was openly gay where I was from.
You just didn't know anybody. You just said it. You're like, there was no one,
and everyone was white.
No one there, yeah.
And it's just
it was like most of Pennsylvania.
I'm not going to even talk about that because whatever. But going to New York City, yes, it just it immediately makes you drop your guard about whatever you thought about other kinds of people. It just dissolves.
My next question was going to be, how did you guys meet?
All right, this will be fun, man. Go ahead, Andy. But I don't know if we're jumping ahead, though, if there's anything before that.
Basically, we're almost there, because I started my band Pop Star Kids.
One of my favorite bands, man.
2000. And you guys came to our record release show in 2003.
And yes, invited by our mutual friend John Clancy.
John Clancy, who is the drummer of my band. And he told me about you guys. So I remember we did that show, and we played our whole, it was a record release party, but we played the whole record. And we debuted it basically on stage, playing it live. And then we played the album over the PA system a couple of times afterwards and had a party.
Nice.
And you guys were there, and we just immediately bonded because we were all King's X fans.
See, it always pops up in these conversations.
And Clancy had told me you guys are, your reputations preceded you, basically. So I already knew you guys were total badasses. And then once I saw your band, Bully, you and Matt and John, and your guitar player, whose name I don't remember.
Scott Fletcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just like an instant, like, oh yeah, these guys, we're going to get along great. We're going to get, just great players, amazing vocal harmonies, and so, yeah, it was just a no-brainer. Like, we're going to be friends. Mm-hmm. We're definitely going to get along, fine.
Did you guys ever play shows together?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we opened up for you guys, and I think you played with us in some of our local venues or something. But and then you also moonlighted as our guitar player.
I did.
When we were looking for a guitar player, and you stood in for a couple shows and just made our band better by being on the stage with us, man.
I've seen pictures of that. Yes.
How many records did you do with the Popstar Kids?
3.
Okay. Talk about the first record and how you recorded it, and then bring us to the third one.
Yeah, the first record and the second record were really glorified solo albums for me. I programmed all the drums, and I had a buddy play bass on the first record, a guy named Anthony Pops. Funny
I remember
enough.
that name.
Who I have been out of touch with almost ever since then, which is sad, but I honestly can't remember his full last name. It was a really long Polish name, and Pops was short for something really, really long.
Maybe
syllables.
Popski?
So I don't even know. No, it was way worse than that. It was like 15 syllables. But yeah, they were kind of glorified solo albums. And, I basically went to a little home studio and recorded all the parts myself, guitars, vocals, programmed keyboards. We were using a software called Cakewalk at the time with ADAT machines. We basically made the first 2 albums like that. They were kind of like solo records, and the reason for that was because I just hadn't been able to put a band together yet. And the first album, the part-time job that I had that I alluded to earlier was working at an independent promoter that worked with college radio, and through that promotion mechanism, I was able to promote my first album to college radio.
Oh, that's cool.
And it did really, really well. It charted in the top 200 for 15 weeks or something like that. And so on the strength of that, I got a CMJ showcase gig. CMJ was the College Music Journal. It was a trade paper, a weekly trade paper that collated all the charts of college radio. And because our record had done so well, or my record, I instantly got a CMJ showcase gig for the festival in 2000. So that would have been October of 2000. And now it was like, okay, I need a band because I've got a gig. Mm-hmm. So that was when I put the band together, and it's before Clancy was on board. We had a different drummer. I found a guy through Craigslist or something, but I found JB and G Money. Those 2 guys were my bass player and keyboardist, and they were a godsend. And then, we were kind of off and running, and Clancy jumped on like a year later. And when we made the third record, we had been playing together for, a year or so, year and a half. And we made that record more as a band. So we continued using elements of electronic beats and stuff, but it was married together with the live drum kit, real bass mixed with synth bass, just that thing I was talking about before of like machine elements and human elements. So that third record was, you know, kind of a mix of organic and electronic, and we did it all to click tracks and stuff like that. So we had, we were able to do sequencing and stuff like that.
And not to nerd out even more, but who mixed that record? And
KBC Caleb Sherman.
Oh, no kidding. And he's here in town, right?
Yes, he is.
All right, we're
our
hoping
good
to see
buddy.
him. Excellent, man. Talk about that record, because I'm most familiar with that one. I had to work backwards in your career, but I remember that record, and I remember just the takeaway for me was lots of vocals, and it did showcase a lot of your guitar work that was just out of this world, but everything that was combined seemed like really mesh well on this record. It sonically sounded great. You had different lead singers. You had Clancy singing some of that stuff, right? And
I was the lead singer, but we would occasionally pass the lead vocal around. You know, everybody could sing. So the point of the band was that everybody had to be able to sing, because I was so into harmonies. But I also like the idea of the vocal being passed around, like in Prince, 1999, that kind of thing.
What was the song that Clancy sang in like a verse, or even JB was in there too? All
you know,
of them were.
Fan Club.
That's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And yeah, it was cool how you traded vocals, and then you kind of like were the lead guy.
Clancy did a lead vocal in Insect Night too. He did a little a turn in there. I can't remember whether it was like the second verse or something. I haven't listened to that in so long, but
I have to tell the fans out there that know me and know that I talk about you all the time, but just for the fans, should I look in the camera and say this? I said, that's the record that made me want to be a better musician. And it's like one of those records, you know, when you're like, oh, I listened to Van Halen 1. That was a record that I listened to like it was a Van Halen 1, and it really opened my eyes to just trying to be better, man.
Wow.
So I want to thank you, Andee.
Aw.
Thank you, man. And for making me trying to be a better guy. You know,
boy,
very cool, dude. So, okay, moving along.
Thank you.
That's
All right.
awesome.
All right, man.
Can people still listen to, is Popstar Kids still a band?
Yeah, you can. It's all on Bandcamp.
Okay.
So, but as far as that record, all that stuff I wrote on my 4-track, I have, I still have all the original 4-track versions of that stuff. I would bring those things to the band. About half of those songs we had been playing live before we made the record, so we were pretty good and tight on those. And then the other half, I don't know, we just learned them to make the record. And yeah, I remember we cut the basic tracks really quickly, I think in like a day or two. And then we went to Glenn's studio, G Money, our keyboardist, who had a Pro Tools studio, and we did all the overdubs there. And then we mixed it at Unique Studios with Caleb Sherman.
And it sounds
He was
fantastic.
able to get us some really primo bargain basement, like middle of the night graveyard shift mixing sessions at this world-class
cool.
studio.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah, I mean, we boy, that was just we were just living it night and day for a few months there. But it was a real, you know, just the progression of going from this kind of glorified solo project to having this, everyone else's voices in there and everyone else's DNA just was, for me, it's what I was aspiring towards, you know.
Right.
So
right.
It is my favorite of the three, you know, for that reason.
I noticed that your songs, they're really well put together. The arrangements are always fairly short. Like you get to the point quick in all these songs. They're like, some of them are even under 3 minutes. And is that intentional, or how do you go about your arrangements? Because they don't sound like they're short. They just sound complete. You got your point out. You go through your verses, choruses, and the whole bit. But that to me is a feat in itself, to get a song under 4 minutes. How do you do it, and what is your goal when you write these tunes?
My MO at the time was these really short, really immediate songs, really bright, just instant hooks. You know, I was probably just reacting to the times. I don't know. I the whole idea of the way alternative rock curdled in the 90s, you know, from Nirvana to Matchbox 20 or whatever it was at the end of the decade was just such a bummer to me. And I just wanted to make these really immediate, short, super upbeat, super brightly colored songs, like little hand grenades, just like bam, 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 one song into the next. And I was also, you know, I wrote all that stuff on 4-track, so I didn't have the option to mess around with the editing of the songs the way we can do in digital audio. So that probably affected things. Like, I don't know, just there's probably a little bit of impatience in me as well, like not wanting to sit around and wait for the song to get underway.
By the time your song is done hitting that final bam, my intro is just ending, getting into the first verse.
Yeah, I've learned how to like give my songs a little bit more room to breathe. Now, it's not like I do long songs now, but I allow myself to maybe extend an intro a little bit or extend this part or that part, but I am very conscious of getting boring, and I don't want to be one of those people.
Right. Go ahead, babe. I don't
No,
know if you
you actually kind of summed up my question. You
All right.
actually worded it a lot better than I was planning on saying.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks,
See,
man.
it's almost like we know each other.
Man, thanks, babe.
But what I actually, just in addition to that, is, so if you're looking at it like that, do you go through the toiling part where you're like, man, I really like this, I'm going to work it around? Or are you just someone that kind of looks at it and you're not attached to it, you know? You know, some people have like demoitis and they get so caught up in like a certain thing that they really like about a song.
I don't remember that we ever changed anything from my 4-track demos. If somebody would have had a suggestion, I would have listened to it, but I don't remember doing that really. I'm not super attached to parts though, and I've learned how to write songs in really different ways now. But back then it was all, because I was recording on a 4-track, it was I don't know, it was sort of like, if I don't get this song right, then I'm just gonna scrap the song.
Scrap it.
Like,
you know, that'd be so hard for a lot of people.
Now I might just like pluck the chorus out and stick a new chorus in there.
Okay.
You know, like, which is so easy to do with digital. But yeah, back then I would probably, I don't know, I just move on. I wrote really, really quickly. So, yeah, I don't know. There's so many ways to go about writing a song, and my process has definitely changed, you know?
Yeah, I remember just being, I'm like, how does this guy write so many songs? Like, I felt like you were really prolific, probably one of the most prolific writers that I knew. And I guess I was used to the slow grind and making something right. But you seem the guy that you could be write a song and then you can just walk away and you're already on to the next release.
I mean, I like to get it over with and move on. I mean, I don't. To me, if I'm belaboring it, then I just lose the plot of it. And but I am happiest when I'm producing a lot of music. So it's kind of a selfish thing. It makes me want to get out of bed if I'm working on music. It's also a way of time stamping a period of your life. I really like having that. I like being able to look back at a certain year and see that I produced a lot of stuff during that period, and I can listen to it and it reminds me of what it was like that year or
Sure.
that month of that year. I've experimented with so many different ways of writing songs, and I think it's just endless the way you can go about it, and that's really endlessly fascinating to me. Just the combinations of notes that can be put together to create something new is just endlessly fascinating to me.
So you were writing on a 4-track, right? Basically through the PSK Popstar thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then we got into the digital, get the computer set up, you get your audio interface.
Yeah.
Talk about if doors opened up with that, with do plugins, and talk about that switch over, if it was cool.
That was a huge deal because now I could really do it myself. I didn't have to go to someone else's studio and try to explain my ideas to the person that knew how to work the gear. Now I could just go straight to the process
source.
myself. So yeah, that was a huge deal. Digital audio has been just a creative boon for everybody. And I know that like a lot of people bemoan the lack of old school studios and people all being together at the same time and creating a moment. And I get that, but I also just love the flexibility of being able to, I don't know, collaborate long distance and, be able to open up a project that's 2 years old and everything is exactly the way you left it, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, or the recall.
The convenience of everything. It makes it so much easier.
It's so convenient. You really can't argue with it. But yeah, I mean, once I started working in digital at home, it was just like now my creativity is really just blowing up because I can work on something that is ostensibly the final product,
right?
And not have to look at it as, well, maybe someday I'll get this into a big boy studio and get someone to record it. That it's nice knowing that you're actually working on a thing that is going to end up maybe out in the world.
What was the first song you recorded, and did it end up on any new records and any new projects?
Oh yeah, the first thing that I recorded, I don't remember, but the first thing that ended up on something that I recorded by myself in digital was the Ghost at Number One, the Jellyfish cover. Okay. There was a Jellyfish tribute album.
I remember that.
And I saw something about it online. I contacted the guy that was producing it.
Was it Heaton?
Alan Heaton, yeah.
Alan Heaton, that's right.
You met him too. I heard about this Jellyfish tribute album. I was like, I want to be on this. I need to be in this.
That's awesome.
This project, And so I recorded a solo version of the Ghost at Number One, Jellyfish, and that ended up on that tribute album.
That's so cool.
I forget what it was called. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
we'll throw a picture up there in post.
We can
Sensory
throw a picture.
Lullabies. Is that what it was?
That sounds about right.
What a fun name.
But basically, I started my new project, BlackSugar Transmission, the day I got my digital audio situation set up. So I started working on my new record.
Another great name.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful. But yeah, cool. Jerry Gaskill, I got Jerry and Matt Farley to play drums on some songs for that. And yeah, that was the first thing I really put my head down and started working on alongside the Jellyfish thing was just,
get you started.
Yeah, just to get started. And but yeah, it was cool. And I immediately started collaborating with people long distance, and I just love being able to do that. Remixes, being able to supply guitar parts for someone else's song, just all those things that we can do. I've obviously done millions of things with you, Dan, long distance, with Darkest Daylight and et cetera, et cetera. Jerry Gaskill and
I love that.
All the KMFDM stuff was done across the Atlantic Ocean and half of Europe.
That's so cool.
Jason Beeler. It's really what's cool about being able to do things this way is you can kind of sit there and work out your part without anybody losing confidence in the whole thing. You can sit there and if you were in a regular studio,
that's a good point.
And the clock is ticking and you're paying by the hour and you're sitting there and you're trying to get a sound and people are getting impatient, the vibe really starts to
they're looking at you.
I can work on my part until I get it just right. I get the sound right. I get the performance. I might do 20 bad performances before I get a good one. But the first thing you hear is the good one, the keeper. And then you hear it and you go, oh, yes. Dude. But we might not have gotten to that point if we were all sitting together in the studio while I'm flubbing and just blowing it left and right. So I love that aspect of it and just the surprise, just being able to send your very best, the very best you have to offer. And that's the first thing they hear when they drop it in the track.
Yeah.
It's like your final vision of what you want to add.
Yeah, you know who really loves that whole idea is me, man. Because every time you send me something, I'm like, well, there's nothing left to do here. This thing is done, man. Let's make a video for it, you know. But yeah, all
Dan's
that
always
stuff.
saying that. He's like, did it again. It's perfect.
I just don't know how he does
it
this
right.
shit. Bring us to the next kind of thing where you started meeting people through the digital world, and you started kind of putting stuff out with these other players. It might be a sheer velocity overlap. I have not, you know, take us through that chronologically, if you can.
BlackSugar Transmission, again, was a glorified solo project for me. So I just basically wanted this idea. Kind of, if you think of Queens of the Stone Age, you think it's Josh Homme, really, with featured players. So I wanted something like that. I didn't want it to be a traditional band where you have to worry about band politics. And if I want this guy playing drums on this song, I'll bring him in. If I want her to sing on this track, I'll bring her in. So it's kind of like a big tent, and I love the overlap of all these different people I've brought in. So after that first BST record, I did an EP where I had a whole bunch of guests, including Vernon Reid. Vernon had heard my first record, and he really liked it. And so we met, and we became buds, and we, you know, whatever we did. We've collaborated a lot over the years. But he played on a song on that EP. It's called Use It. Doug Pinnick from King's X is on a song called Running Like a Dog, which
right.
You're on as well.
I got some backing vocals and Matt Farley, right?
Matt's on there, and my dear departed friend Alyssa B.
Yeah. R.I.P.
So that was like a, you know, an example of where I was just like excited about this idea that I can just bring people in to flavor this whole thing. And yeah, I mean, over the years, I've brought a lot of interesting people in, but you might be alluding to the guitar duels.
Right. I think you started doing these things where you'd be in the left-hand speaker, or, you know, your guest would be in the right-hand speaker, and it would just be a really cool back and forth.
Yeah. So I set up a band, not a Bandcamp, but a SoundCloud page for these, what I call head cutting sessions, which is basically like instrumentals that I would come up with, and then I would invite usually another guitar player to do solos on it, and we would go back and forth, kind of like a guitar duel kind of thing. It's pretty juvenile, but you know, it's
fun.
that crossroads thing, cutting heads.
Yeah. Sword fighting.
Yeah. And so, you know, I've done a whole bunch of those, and yeah, I did a couple with Vernon. I did one with Jason Beeler, Andy Wood, you know, just loads of really great guitar players. And that's just sort of a fun thing. I don't really take that stuff very seriously. I don't think it's I don't think it's like the best example of my artistic merit in this life, but it's kind of like going to a shooting range or something, or I don't know, punching like a punching bag.
Sure.
It's getting your aggression out.
We have a lot more we want to get into, but I think what we should do right now is get into the cocktail portion of the show. I think that'd be good.
I second that emotion.
Yes, yeah. I think we need some drinks. So
let's get wasted in here.
Excuse me. Let me put on my drinking shoes.
Drinking shoes.
Hey man, that's a cool reference. Wait, hold them up again, Andy. Sorry.
What I mean is, I'm going to drink from the shoes. I have these specially lined.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you should.
That'll be perfect,
dude. You shouldn't have told us any of that, man. You should have just started drinking out of your shoe.
Right. It'll be so confusing.
All right.
Well, yeah. Well, I think what I'll do is at this moment in time, have a couple ideas. I think this is going to be a fun cocktail. I really hope that you enjoy it. I think it'll be good, and I'll grab some tools and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Tony Harnell here from TNT. You are listening to or watching Nashville on the Rocks.
Okay, we are back. We've got everything in front of us to make a really fun cocktail, so I'm super excited about this. And I have today decided to kind of do something with gin. So this gin is really unique. It's an African gin, and it's distilled in copper pots. So really nice, really lovely. I've had this bottle for a while now. It's botanical, it's fresh, and I think it's gonna be really balanced because I have a blueberry simple and I have fresh lemonade, and then I have triple sec. So I figure we could do this cocktail should be named something like Pop Star Kids, or because I think it's gonna be, it's fun, it's approachable, but it has a lot of depth to it, which I think is going to be well received.
Or I don't care what you call it. Let's just make it.
Let's make it. All right, cool. All right, so here is your measurement tool, sir. Okay, so we have ice. We've already skipped to this part of it. We have ice already in these tins and the glasses. Mm-hmm. And so for those of you all who are listening, you're going to be able to hear me. And for those of you watching, you're going to be able to see me, but I'll kind of walk everybody through for those of you that are just listening. So what we're going to do is make 3 drinks. I'm going to show Andee how to make this, and basically, Andee, I'm going to make yours and Dan's cocktail, and you're going to make mine. Oh. So we're going to switch it around.
I'm sorry.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be so much fun. So obviously, I'm going to double up what I'm using, and I'll walk you through it. So for this first part, I'm going to pour... Let's do 3 ounces. It's going to be a little boozy, but I'm going to pour 3 ounces of gin into this tin.
Should I do my sound effects, babe?
Yeah, go for it, babe. Go for it.
I've been practicing, man.
So perfect. Okay.
You want me to do that?
Yeah. So actually, you can use, because this one is a little weird. There's no measurement there. So just use mine. So that is 2 ounces right there. But from the top, you're going to see that one line in there. Do you see it right around the inside?
Yeah.
The top. Okay. So that's 1.5 ounces. So you're going to pour that up until that line. And then you're going to put it right into the tin.
Right into the tin.
Right into the tin.
Right into the tin.
Perfect. Or should we be doing New York
And then
accents?
how much more?
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm good?
Yeah, you're good. You hit it. Yeah. No, are we kidding me? If we did double that into, Jesus, this would be fun. Okay, so I'm going to do now the triple sec. I'm going to do 2 ounces of triple sec into mine, and you're going to do 1 ounce. So the smaller side of the measuring tool is 1 ounce. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to give the triple sec to you. So you're going to fill that smaller side up to the top and then dump it right in.
Can do.
So I was saying,
oh my God, I went so far, so far past that line.
That's okay. I'm going to have a very triple sec-y kind of drink. And you know what? It's fine.
It's a party.
It's good. Yeah.
You signed up for this.
It's a party. It's a party. Okay. You can use that to clean up whatever you want. It's just spilled alcohol. It's no problem. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour 2 ounces of this blueberry simple into the tin. And Andee, you're going to take the blueberry and you're going to pour 1 ounce. So that smaller side right into that tin.
All right.
Beautiful.
This is like
See, you did it.
Chemistry.
Yeah, except it's more fun because there's drinks involved after this. And
well, we did that in high school chemistry too.
The formaldehyde.
Yeah,
stuff?
but not the drink part, right? Right?
Where'd you go to high school?
Well, no place fun. All right, so now we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to shake this up just a smidge. Okay, now we're going to pour, this is on tight. I'm going to pour 4 ounces into my tin. So this is basically like a homemade lemonade. So it's fresh squeezed lemon juice.
Okay, and I'm going to do one of these, right?
Sugar and water. Yes, you're going to do one. I'm going to pour it right into that.
For your ill-fated cocktail.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Perfect. I've made way more.
You'll be able to
lemonade
taste
than I
the ineptitude. It's like a garnish.
No, this is going to be so good.
The
Okay.
aroma.
All right, so everything's in here right now. Ooh, it smells very lemony. Okay, and we're going to
Should I
take...
performatively smell?
Right. Do you smell that? Do you smell how it's like fresh,
You gotta sell
clean?
it. Yeah, that is the science waif, isn't it? Like the whole.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take this small tin and put it right into the big one.
Okay.
Okay? And it's going to form a seal,
God.
so we're just going to just tap it. Yep. So it's on there, right? Okay, and then we're going to, my favorite part, we're going to shake this for about 15 seconds, okay?
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Dan,
See,
did you
action.
set the stopwatch? Oh my God, it's freezing. It's so cold.
It gets really cold.
My hands are going to stick to the thing.
And I always joke about that, but I'm so
don't lick
serious.
it.
It gets
This is
fucking
crazy cold.
Let's gonna make it
Don't
really,
lick
really
it.
good.
Don't lick it.
Oh my God. This is torture.
You got a nice hand ache, right?
This is unbearable.
All right, I think we're good. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine doing
Get this thing
multiple
away from
times
me.
a night. It's like burning. Burning. So I've got to pop
Damn it.
that seal. Oh, Dan hates it when I do that. Sorry, babe.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, blow up
you're
those
probably
mics, guys.
strong enough where you can open it on your own. I need a little bit of a... Did you get it? Yay! Perfect.
Do I get
Okay.
a participation trophy?
Yeah, well, your participation,
Oh, boy.
your participation, haven't even started yet.
don't
Your
have to-
participation trophy is the alcohol. So you're gonna take this strainer and we're gonna put it right on top, and you're gonna pour everything into that one glass. And obviously, I'm gonna pour over 2 glasses.
Nice.
Let's see how this goes.
All right.
Good job.
Wow, it perfectly goes to the top of this glass.
Oh, that glass is a little smaller than these. You know, I bought all these glasses to be uniform. Do you think I can find them? No, absolutely
well, plus
not.
I kind of overshot the mark on the triple sec.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It'll be, you know what? It's
That probably
fine.
accounts for the
It's fine. Now,
full to bursting.
do we want some bubbles in this cocktail?
I don't mind bubbles. I mean, I'm fine.
I'm
All right.
afraid there's no room for bubbles in here.
No, I'm just gonna drink it and then add it to afterwards. But I'm gonna put this
Okay.
tangerine LaCroix, just a little.
I love that stuff, just for the record. So
I got-
if they're listening out there and they just stumble upon this episode, man, could you
Yeah.
send us some free shit?
Yeah,
We're always using it.
definitely. You know,
I'm just gonna
sponsor us, guys.
slide yours across.
Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, yeah.
So perfect. Okay, I'm ready, and I'm ready to get the rest of the fun storytelling down. So,
All right, should we cheers? or
everybody,
what are we
yes,
doing?
cheers, Andy. Thank you for coming on the
Thanks
show.
for having me.
Yeah, let's hope this doesn't suck.
All right.
Hope this cocktail's
right.
good. All right, here we go.
We're doing it.
It's pretty delightful.
Yeah. So, what is next for you on the horizon? What happens
After
then?
that?
Yes.
Well, it was kind of like around that time that I started playing with other people a little bit more,
Okay.
playing in other people's bands. I mean, my whole idea of being a musician, if I had like the top most ideal goal would be to be able to make a living just being me, being an artist like Robert Smith.
Yes.
He's the gold standard. But if that's not possible, and it's usually not, I just want to be a full-time musician.
Yeah.
And I will work with other musicians and bands as long as I can stay true to myself, if it allows me to make a living as a musician. So hence, this is where I get into touring with other people and joining, with more well-known artists and doing stuff. I just kind of loosened my grip on the wheel a little bit, like when I met Dan and I was doing Pop Star Kids, it was like, that was all I was doing,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't play with anybody else. And
Because you were just super focused.
yeah, and I just didn't want to be associated with anyone else or anyone else's band.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I started to kind of loosen up on that idea. And I started playing with Peter Murphy, who was the singer of Bauhaus. Bauhaus is like frequently cited as the godfathers of goth,
Right.
And I started playing with him in 2013. And 3 years on and off with him. Went all over the world, North America, South America, Europe, China, Russia,
Nice.
Australia, New Zealand. When I first started playing with him, we were doing an all Bauhaus show. So I got to be in the role of Daniel Ash, who's one of my favorite post-punk guitarists, as I was alluding to before. And then, we did other tours doing like Peter Murphy solo material and stuff like that. And that was cool. But after 3 years, I moved on from that.
What year are we thinking this is, or what?
2013 to 2016.
Okay, all right.
And Andy,
yeah.
just about the whole thing when you kind of got into that band, and this is a new thing for you. You kind of not left BST, but you started, like you said, loosening up.
Yeah.
What was it like to prepare for these gigs, stepping into somebody's shoes? How was that for you?
Well, okay, yeah, that's an interesting story because I found out about the Peter Murphy gig very suddenly, and they needed me in like 3 days. So
That is really sudden.
had to learn 30 songs in 3 days.
Ooh.
And fly to LA
Okay.
and do 2 rehearsals with the band
Okay,
and then go on tour.
nice.
That's a lot of pressure, I think, huh?
Yeah, it was. It was really challenging. Now, luckily, I was familiar with Bauhaus. I was already a fan of Bauhaus, and that was the material that we were playing on that tour. So I had a little bit of an advantage, but I had never played that stuff on guitar. And, I was also expected to play 12-string acoustic, which I've never even... at that point, I had never played, much less seen a 12-string left-handed guitar. So that was a real big hurdle. Mm-hmm. What they ended up doing is, it's kind of boring, but Peter Murphy himself played a little bit of 12-string acoustic guitar in the show, and he had a backup, and they gave that to me and restrung it.
Oh, wow.
And it was not optimal. It was, when you restring a right-handed guitar for lefty use, you have to really do a lot of stuff to it to make it playable, and they were not able to do that.
So
in the time crunch or whatever.
Yeah, and they didn't. They would probably have to reverse that nut at the.
They didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
There was no time.
Okay.
So
All right.
if you can imagine the fat string sitting in the tiny little crevice for the skinny string in the nut. This is in the weeds guitar player talk, but
Right.
really uncomfortable. And I had to open the show myself playing that guitar. So
Oh, nice. First
so
song.
the first show was
opening.
a little. The first song of the first show was a little kind of thing. I still occasionally think about, and I go ugh. But I eventually, like after that first run, I actually got Taylor Guitars to send me a left-handed 12-string,
Oh,
a
nice.
beautiful guitar, which they did absolutely free of charge.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I used that going forward with Peter Murphy, but yeah, it was really really intense learning those songs in that short of a period of time. But I've had, I probably didn't mention this before, but I learned how to play guitar by learning songs, like learning albums,
Okay.
dozens of albums.
Okay.
Like this is all I ever did when I was a teenager.
You're pretty much self-taught, right?
I'm self-taught. I would come home from school and I would just line up 5 albums and I would play along to all of them until my parents told me to shut down.
That's so funny.
That was how I learned how the guitar works.
Okay.
And then, of course, over the years, I've just done all these different things and had to learn material, and I'm good at that. So I was ready for that challenge. However, it is a lot to try to absorb in 3 days, 30 songs, when you're about to go out and play in front of, pretty big audiences. He was touring like large clubs on that run.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
The 30 songs you learned, you said you kind of were familiar with his catalog, right?
The Bauhaus catalog.
Right. Okay. So this included more stuff than that. And did you have to write notes and stuff like that to remember the type of thing?
I had cheat sheets,
Okay.
and the idea with cheat sheets is you want to make them as minimal as possible. You don't want to be on stage reading a chart. Mm-hmm. That absolutely is that's just the last resort of desperation.
Yeah.
So as I'm getting ready and I'm trying to run these songs at home, I'm making cheat sheets with whatever notes I need to keep me from screwing up. And as I go along, I reduce the notes.
Oh yeah, you like cut out. You're like, I've got this down.
I've got that. I don't need that, and I don't need that written down anymore. So I reduce it down to the absolute bare minimum of what I need to be able to get through the set. And I continued that process during the rehearsals.
Okay.
And they didn't care that I had cheat sheets.
I'm sure they understood. I mean, that's a huge order.
Yeah.
And they know you're going to improve.
Yeah, and you know, you get out there, once you play one show, it's like 10 rehearsals. I mean, the way the material gets burned into your memory after you've played it on stage is just so much more powerful than rehearsing with the band, which is so much more powerful than rehearsing by yourself at home.
Got it.
It's something about being with everyone else. It's more pressurized. You're more alert, and it just sets in quicker. Fine.
So
I was excited about it. I mean, you know, if you're a fan of Bauhaus, if you're a fan of gothic rock, or whatever the hell you want to call it, I mean, the thrill of playing Bela Lugosi is Dead with Peter Murphy is something I'll never forget.
Does that occur to you, like, when you are on the stage and you look over and you just kind of like, you have that little tiny weird moment inside your inner dialogue? You're like, holy shit, man, I can't believe I'm playing with this guy.
Yeah,
you know, with
absolutely.
the songs that I've always heard, you know?
When he first walked into the rehearsal, you know, he's wearing dad jeans and like a button-up, you know, pink Oxford shirt or something. I was like, who's that guy? Oh, shit.
That's so funny.
And you know, it's a very disarming person just walks in the door. And then we start playing and he starts singing and I hear that voice and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's fucking Peter Murphy.
That's so great.
It's wild. Yeah. I had many of those moments. Yeah. You know, over the years, but you know, ultimately I'm just focused on, I need to do my part here. I'm not really getting too caught up in that kind of thing.
That would have put you at what, 2016 at this point? So what happened next?
Well, I just I stopped touring for about a year.
Okay.
And I was just kind of doing my thing at home. At home, I'm playing in local bands. I'm teaching guitar lessons. I'm doing studio stuff. I'm making my own music. I'm playing on other people's records. I'm just doing all the things that I do. And then one day, let's see, this would have been 8 years ago, almost exactly. I got a call from Doug Wimbish, who, for those who don't know, he's a legendary bass player who was instrumental in the early hip-hop records of New York City with Sugar Hill Gang and Curtis Blow and Grandmaster Flash. He played on all that stuff.
The pioneers of that stuff, man.
He played with Mick Jagger. He played with Jeff Beck. He's one of these guys that just played with everyone for a while through the 80s. And he's been in living color since the 90s. So I got a call from him and he said, yeah, my friend Sasha from KMFDM needs a guitar player, an American guitar player, to do a tour that starts in 1 week. And I got your number from Vernon Reid, the guitarist from Living Colour, who is a friend of mine. And it was kind of similar to the Peter Murphy thing.
1 week.
Except I had a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And I decided to do it. I had to cancel about 6 New York City shows in order to do the show, to do the tour. And I had a week to learn the set, no band rehearsal.
Oh.
Straight into the first show.
Oh, damn.
At a sold-out Metro in Chicago.
Okay.
Which was incredibly nerve-wracking.
You don't strike me as someone who has, like, nerve-wracking moments.
You seem like you can handle business, Andy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
You're
just
kind of
the thing that
composed.
it's the idea of everybody was
like that,
nervous about it.
Sure.
It's like we haven't even played a song together.
Right.
And we're going to go out in front of this crowd. And
And who knows how it's going to go.
let's see how this goes. I mean, luckily, the thing about it was that, you know, with that band, it's very much, there's tons of playback. It's all on a laptop. The song is always going to be the same length. It's always going to be the same tempo. There's no...
Yeah, you don't know what happens when the unknown happens and how people are going to react.
Well, it's just that there's no unknown factor in the way the songs are played on stage.
Yeah, yes.
You know, there's no improvisation. There's no, we're going to extend the middle part. There's no...
Sure.
We're going to change the key tonight. It's nothing like that.
So that's all great.
So that was good. And I did have like, you know, I had a really good, I had good tools to practice with because I had the stems of all the tracks, you know, all the playback essentially to practice to. But anyway, somehow I milked 7 years out of that. You know, I went in,
awesome.
I thought, let's see how this goes. That first show actually went quite well, all things considered. And yeah, I managed to stay in that band for 7 years and make 5 albums.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As far as excuse me, as far as the actual type of material that you had to learn on the fly, what kind of material did you actually have to learn? Was it something that's difficult, how, like key change wise, or was it something that was a little bit more easy to digest in a week? As far as with that band, was it atmospheric stuff you were doing, or what were you doing? Just mimicking what they already had?
Okay, well, KMFDM, for those who don't know, is an industrial rock band that has very heavy kind of metal guitar playing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like dancey beats and angry German vocals and, you know, really tight, technical, militant, heavy metal guitar riffing. Right. That's kind of the formula. I mean, whatever, I'm boiling it down a little bit. But, you know, I was a fan. So I had listened to a lot of KMFDM in the late 90s. So I was familiar with a lot of the material. Hadn't played it on the guitar, but it was very challenging to play. It was way more challenging than, for instance, the Peter Murphy stuff, which is more kind of loose and kind of more free form in some ways. This is very, very rigid, tight, militant, stamina playing.
I can see what you're saying.
You know, if you want to get a glimpse of what I'm talking about, listen to the song Drug Against War, which is 161 beats per minute and is 16th notes the whole time. And there's a shredding guitar solo in the middle of it.
Right.
I remember thinking, can I even play this? Like, do I even have this in my...
wheelhouse?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. But I agreed to do the tour, and I did try to play that song pretty early on. I thought, if I can find a way to get through that song, I should be able to survive the rest of the show.
All right. So that stuff was more of a pillar of the sound. Like, you really had to be a structural part of the actual song itself, right? It wasn't like something you could just kind of...
Signature riffs.
Right.
Signature big, crunchy riffs. You know, like... yes, it's not negotiable. You have to do the riffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was challenging. It was, I mean, you know, playing in that band, I did many tours with them, and I had to work so hard to get ready for those tours. I mean, I almost like lost my mind sometimes. Mm-hmm. I had to practice so hard. A year ago, we did a 40th anniversary of KMFDM tour.
Wow.
Where we had 40 songs to prepare for the tour.
Whoa.
And I was practicing hours a day for months leading up to the tour. And I'm not going to talk about all my playing issues, my injuries and stuff, but I have issues.
Right.
And it was really hard getting ready for that tour. So it was kind of like getting ready for
a marathon,
a triathlon or something. Yeah. It was really physically challenging to get ready for that stuff. But I was always prepared, and I always showed up with very minimal cheat notes, you know, once again.
Very cool.
I still have my first set list from the first tour I did somewhere in my house. And it still had a couple of little liner, you know, like marginal notes. You know, even in the last week of the tour, I was still having to write a couple things down, like places where I need to readjust my effects and change parameters on my pedals and stuff like that in between songs. Forget about the fact that I'm responsible for something like 6 tunings in order to do that show.
Wow.
Which I had to negotiate artificially using pedals.
Okay.
And a little bit of drop tuning on my guitar.
Did you have multiple guitars you switched from?
No. I didn't want to. I could not conceive of bringing 6 guitars, and then you need 6 backups, and each one of those guitars with its own tuning needs its own string gauge and its own setup. Some of them are up tuned.
Okay.
Some of them are way down tuned. So I just got a Electro-Harmonix pitchfork pedal.
Okay.
And I use that to do most of it works pretty well. Like it actually, it just saves me a lot of work because I just wanted to be able to do the whole show with one guitar.
That in and of itself sounds like it was a huge feat alone.
Yeah.
But like, what's your other choice? Like you said, like 12 guitars? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm left-handed. I don't have that many guitars. Like, I really don't.
As far as like, I don't know what songwriting looks like in KMFDM, but you said you did 5 albums with them. Is that something that Sasha just writes by himself, or
it was collaborative?
Okay.
He would send me ideas that were underway, and I would contribute to them. So I was a co-writer on those albums.
That's cool.
And I contributed an awful lot of guitar to those albums, like not just riffs, but textures and sound design and stuff that people probably think is synthesizers, honestly. Solos.
Let me ask you about that, because now you're slipping into somebody else's skin. And like, how much of it are you like, okay, I got to make sure I kind of stay true to the whole sound of what fans would expect, and how you keep your own thing going on in there without overstepping? What's that like?
You just try to get into the spirit of it. What's the sound of that band? It's really crunching, high gain, chuggy riffs. I was familiar with the catalog, so I knew this kind of style of guitar playing that was in there. I didn't try to emulate any earlier guitar players' styles. I was not expected to do that.
Yeah.
So when it comes time to take a solo or splash some color here or there, I just did my own thing.
Yeah.
And it was always, that band always had a lot of collaborators, and so it was pretty flexible. It was pretty free.
Maybe this is a good time to kind of get nerdy about your gear for all the gear fans out there that want to know how you get your tone and your sounds. And so what are you playing? What kind of guitars are you playing at this point in your career with the KMFDM guys? Pedal-wise, amp-wise, and I don't know, miscellaneous.
Well, for the last 6 years or so, I've been playing Sully guitars, which are made by John Sullivan in Dallas, who I'm going to see after I leave you guys.
Yeah, gorgeous guitars too. Yeah,
beautiful guitars. I've been using those, and with KMFDM, I was using an amp modeler, an Atomic 12, which is a unit about this big. Actually, I was using the 6 too, which is about that big. Actually, Dan, you have one right over there. But
I love it.
It's a high gain sound for the most part in that band, and modelers are, I think, really good at that. And then I'm using a handful of pedals on top of that. I'm using the Pitchfork. I'm using a Boss Super Shifter. I'm using the Eventide H9, which is a cornerstone of my sound palette. There's a video on YouTube of me doing a gear rundown for Guitar World magazine for the KMFDM rig. When I moved to New York, I learned how to let go of gear entirely, because you're using backline amps. You cannot lug amps around and do gigs. It just does not work. It's not practical, and you don't want to do it. I just got to the point where I could use anything.
Yeah.
I am, the first band I auditioned for when I moved to New York City was this gothic metal band that dropped their tuning down a whole step, very high gain guitar, heavy metal guitar sounds. And I went to the audition, and the only amp that worked in the room was a Roland Jazz Chorus. So you might not know what that is, but judging by the name of the amp, you can probably guess it's not a heavy metal amp. It doesn't have any distortion. And I just had a little paddle board. I had a distortion box on it. I just turned the knobs all the way up on that and just played the songs, And I got the gig, and the other guys in the band just didn't give a shit about what amp I was playing through. They just liked that I knew the songs and I got into the spirit of it. And apparently the other guitar players that showed up to audition just could not get past the amp. They're like, I can't play through this.
Yeah.
It was just a non-starter thing. And so that kind of taught me a lesson. And I've learned how to play through almost anything.
It's about pivoting, especially in a place like New York City, where you said you're not going to lug it. There's no way. Like, not only is that not practical, but it's like, that's not going to happen.
It's dangerous. I mean, I remember loading my amp up and down the stairs when I lived on the
That's what I'm thinking
6th
of.
floor and falling one night. I was on my way to play CBGB's and I'm carrying my amp because CB's never had a backline. And you know, it's those old worn marble stairs, and like I just slipped and went whoosh. And somehow I survived and the amp survived. But yeah, it's just
Getting killed by your own amp, man.
and
It's pretty metal, though, dude. You know, punk rock.
Yeah, no. So that's not going to work. So it's all about pivoting and like forming a new, which again,
and just trying to get into the spirit of the situation, whatever it is. Like,
yeah.
And that has a lot to do with just the way you interface with the guitar, and you know, just being able to be dynamic. And I can be loud here, I can be soft here. It's basically when you play with someone else's band, you don't want to call unwanted attention to yourself by having the wrong sound or playing the wrong notes. You know, so learn the right notes, get a sound that is in the ballpark, and just try to have fun.
Let's talk about Blondie and how you got to that gig and your contributions there, and what it was like to play live in front of these crazy awesome fans.
Yeah.
Talk about that shit.
Well, you know, Blondie, everybody knows Blondie. I've always been aware of Blondie my whole life. And when I moved to New York, I realized, wow, Blondie are like the mayors of this place.
Really?
Like, I mean, yeah, like they are respected and loved by everybody in New York, because somehow they stood at the intersection of like CBGB's, Studio 54, early hip hop, Andy Warhol, drag culture, the downtown art scene.
So when New York was really fucking cool.
When all those things were happening at the same time, there was no other band that intersected all that stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, when New York was really fertile, and all those disco and punk, and
it's all the first.
You know, how many CBGB's bands could you say also, you know, dabbled in rap and disco and you know, all this other stuff. So I've always been, you know, I've obviously always been aware of and a fan of Blondie, but when I moved to New York, it was like, you know, I would start seeing Debbie Harry just out and about.
Oh, that's cool.
She was friends with bands that, you know, punk rock bands, and she would get up on stage and do cameos. I would see her doing all kinds of stuff. And you know, I've known a guy for a really long time, about as long as I've known Dan, a guy named Matt Katz-Bowen, who joined Blondie in, like, I think 2008. He's a keyboardist, he's a guitar player too, but he joined as a keyboardist. And so that kind of put me more in the family of the Blondie world, because I knew him, and I also knew other people in the band, in the crew, people that I've played with over the years, and I eventually got to know Debbie. And Debbie,
so you knew her like before you took the gig?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she would just be around.
Just around.
I would do gigs with Matt where we would both be hired guns in something.
Sure.
We'd be playing a gig, and she would come to the gig.
Oh, that's sweet.
And she'd hang out afterwards.
That's
and
such a cool thing to do.
Debbie is just like the most salt of the earth. Like, doesn't think she's special, doesn't think she's important.
I love that.
Doesn't walk around with an entourage. You know, she's out in front having a cigarette like everyone else. You know, but yeah, no, I got to know her a little bit, and she started saying things like, "Yeah, it'd be cool if we could do something together, some kind of project. Like, I don't know, we got to think of something." We traded phone numbers and stuff, and then one day, it was actually New Year's Day of 2021, pretty early in the morning, way before I got up. She sent me a text saying, "Hey, you know, Happy New Year. what do you think about doing some Blondie shows this year? Because their guitarist, Chris Stein, founding member, decided to retire from touring.
Okay.
So she just said, what do you think about doing that? You know, I said, yes.
Excuse me?
Excuse me. I feel like
That's it. That's how I got in, you know, like.
I feel like that's such an adorable, it just warms my heart so much.
And you know what, Andy, I remember when you told me about that. Now, the first thing that popped in my mind, I'm like, that is so cool for you. I felt, because I feel like you're like this New York guy that had all this New York in you. And she's like that New York icon. You know, like, what a perfect, cool little thing, man. Not a little thing, but like just a tour of the world with this iconic, legendary singer with all those cool sounds and songs. And I don't know, I thought that was great.
Yeah, that is really cool.
It totally, you know, like it totally made sense to me that I was going to play with this band. Like I was actually waiting for that call for a while.
That is so funny.
Because like
it made sense, like you said. Like
Matt had always told me, if we ever need a guitar player, you're the first person I'm going to call. So I wasn't surprised, but I was also like, yes.
What a great start to the year.
Yeah. And that was, you know, COVID was still pretty rampant, and they had a tour booked for the fall in the UK with Garbage, who I love.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They just played here.
Did they?
When this episode comes out, it's not going to be in the right time, but they just played here Wednesday night.
Okay.
You know, I unfortunately we didn't do that tour because COVID was still too rampant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we only did one show in 2021, which was a hometown show, and it was outside at Battery Park. It was like, I think June, and it was just after my 25th anniversary of moving to New York.
Oh, damn.
And what
a fun way to celebrate.
I did have a moment where I was on stage and I'm kind of looking up at the buildings, and it's a beautiful night, and I'm playing to my people, my friends and stuff, and playing with the Ultimate New York Band, and thinking, wow, this is my 25th anniversary of moving to New York. Like a more New York type of, you know, landmark I can't think of, you know. Yeah. Anyway, so we in 2022 we started touring like very extensively, not super extensively, but quite a bit, you know, going to the UK and Australia and a little bit of Europe and the States, and touring with Johnny Marr, who I'm a huge fan of, and The Damned, which is one of my favorite bands. And we toured with Alice Cooper.
I have to mention that whole voicemail thing, man. Can we talk about that?
Alice Cooper has a radio show on Sirius XM, and I was in a band for a while called Prisoners of New York, and Alice Cooper played us on his show. When he named off the band members, he just fixated on my name and he kept saying it over and over again. So I have a couple of great sound bites of Alice Cooper going, Andee BlackSugar.
Andee BlackSugar is on guitar. That's a great name. Andee BlackSugar. Andee BlackSugar.
Dude, it's just so funny though. When you met him, you could be like, dude, this is your voice, man, like playing this shit. Like, yeah,
I played it for him. I have pictures of me playing that for him and his wife, and they're cracking up.
That is so funny.
I don't think he even knew what the context was. Yeah. But I was like, this is you. I've talked about how pressurized it was to get ready for Peter Murphy and stuff like that. But with Blondie, it was so easy. I had plenty of time.
That's cool.
To learn the songs, and the songs are easy to play. All I have to do is just like kind of get into the vibe of it and like just have fun. There's no musical director. There's nobody breathing down your neck or whatever. And it's just such a loose, casual thing. And it's like, I mean, so there were times when it got a little bit loosey-goosey on stage, and you know, we had Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols playing bass for us. And
that's so badass. He
came in on late notice as well. Well, he came in on late notice and was learning a lot of songs on short in a short time. And but you know, there's no if somebody fucks up, nobody really cares. It's
all in good spirits.
It's this idea of keeping it CBGBs. You know, it's not slick. You know, earlier this year in April, we lost Clem Burke, Blondie's drummer, founding drummer. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to give a shout out to Clem, and everybody misses him. And he was a real dyed-in-the-wool rock and roller. He wore a CB's shirt every night on stage, and he really carried that spirit to the end.
Mm.
Yeah, R.I.P., man.
But so I don't know what's happening with Blondie right now. There are things happening. There's things going on that I can't talk about right now. There's a new Blondie album that's going to come out next year, early next year, and I did play on it and I did sing on it. So stand by for that.
That's so cool.
But
very cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's really cool. The songs that I heard and played on were really, really cool and fresh.
Yeah.
Before we move on, and I forget to ask you about it, there's this like clip on YouTube of you playing a Blondie in a Blondie song. I can't remember which one it was. And it was a ripping solo. And can you tell us about that clip I'm talking about, and who kind of were you jamming with, and who was in that moment with you?
Oh, Nile Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we played Coachella, I don't know, somebody got the idea to get Nile Rodgers to come and play with us. And Nile Rodgers produced Debbie's first solo album.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And that album is, I think it's called Cuckoo. And I think it's from 1982. I can't remember the date. But anyway, Nile Rodgers produced it. And so the idea was we would play a song from Cuckoo at Coachella, and Nile would come out and play the parts that he played on that recording with the band.
Right.
And then he would stick around for Rapture, you know, which is a cool song for him to play on because it's kind of funky, and he is the master of funky rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think the video you're referring to is Rapture, where he's there, he's playing with the band, and you know, I take the solo in that song, and he came over to me and he's kind of rocking out with me while I was doing the solo. The funny thing about that clip is that we almost train wrecked right before the solo. If you watch it, you'll see there's this moment where things get all kind of like, no one's standing on this terra firma anymore. We're all looking at each other with that panic look, because this part of the song is all driven by verbal cues from Debbie. It's this rap section, you know. And the monitor mix was terrible that night for whatever reason, and nobody could hear her. And we just got off. We
was the beat flipped and shit, or was it you know how you flipped a kick and snare?
I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened.
Just got a little strange. That's all.
But it was right before the guitar solo, and I thought, oh wow, this is my my most viral moment is going to be this, you know. And it was live streamed, you know, all across the country. Everybody was at home watching, and but Clem Burke, this is what was great about Clem. As wild and Keith Moon-like as he was, he always knew how to bring the band back around if things got squirrely. So he just goes, ga, 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 and that's like, okay, here's the new downbeat. Reset.
Yeah.
And then that's where the guitar solo starts, and that's the clip that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was, while that was happening, I was kind of shitting my pants. And then it ended up being okay. The thing that I like, I'm not an advice giver, and I'm not really an advice taker, but I do advise young musicians to get out of their house and play with other people in front of other people.
Yes. Because
we live in a time when musicians are aspiring to do nothing more than stay in their bedroom and make videos for TikTok. Mm-hmm. And that is cool. I'm glad people are doing that. They're still playing music. But it's almost as if, you know, if you were homeschooled and then you never left the house after that. it's kind of like, well,
Yeah.
you're not going to learn that much about the world if you don't go out there. And the amount of learning that you do after you go out and start playing with other people, and all the challenges and the fun and the unexpectedness of all that in front of other people, and all the psychology of that, and I couldn't even begin to catalog all of the X factors of the environmental influences of playing in a room in front of people, acoustically, weather-wise. Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it humid? Or is the audience cool? Are they not cool?
Yeah.
Can you not hear the drummer?
Yeah.
All those things teach you these ways to be a better musician.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to, I don't know, I just think that is where the vast majority of learning happens, is when you get out and play with people and play in front of people.
I want to talk about the Jerry Gaskill type of experience, where how we kind of played some solo songs or solo shows with Jerry back in 2005. And we did a couple shows in New York and Jersey and stuff like that. And then it led to the Jerry Gaskill Love and Scars record. Can you talk about the experience of playing with Jerry in a room on that first record that we were supporting? And then the new Love and Scars, and what you added to that, and how you went about that record? Because I know Jerry fans are going to want to hear this from you.
Right. Okay. Well, the thing about Jerry, like, I was obviously a big King's X fan, as were you. So I had met Jerry at King's X shows, and he probably wouldn't have remembered me, but he started coming to my band's shows. And he started coming to your band's shows, right?
Around the same time.
He's living in New Jersey, and with Julie, and she, Susie and the whole gang would come in and they'd see her bands.
So cute.
So when he wanted to do some solo shows, it was a no-brainer for him to ask us to be his backing band.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. Of course, he wasn't playing drums. He was fronting. He was being a lead singer in this case. And Matt Farley was the drummer. But it was still really cool. And we all sang harmonies, and we all basically gave it our best, our King's X informed expertise, to fill it out and make it sound, like probably how he would want it to sound. When you started doing the Love and Scars record, you, Dan, were producing it and putting rhythm guitars and co-writing the songs, backing vocals and all that stuff. So when you sent me those tunes, they sounded pretty almost complete. Maybe you would ask for a solo or some window dressing or whatever. So I would just try to hear places to put little sparkles, and maybe if you have a clean, or if you have a crunchy rhythm, I'll put like a crystal clear arpeggio thing on top of it, or a harmony thing, a Brian May type of harmonized thing, or maybe like a little soundscapey part or whatever.
Right.
I do that a lot, like with Jason Beeler also, who I want to mention, who I've had a long partnership with, who's also a guitar player, a phenomenal guitar player. When he sends me songs, they sound complete. So I'm looking for places to add things kind of on top and around the sides. I call it window dressing or scribbles. It's little decorative things. I don't know. I just listen and see what comes to me, and just try to add something that doesn't get in the way of what's already there.
Right. And it was really refreshing. I just remember sending you all these tracks, and they were kind of bare bones. I mean, they were fully structured songs, but there's just something about when you add your thing. And I just want everybody to know out there, like, that whole Jerry Gaskill record was really decorated by you, and really lifted a lot of the songs where maybe some of these segues needed a little help to make it land harder. But like, as far as like the King's X fans that might be listening to this, or the Jerry Gaskill fans, like, you added so much tapestry and texture to that record, and I really feel like that's what really put it over the edge to make it sound finished. And I just wanted to make that point just in case people wanted to know. And I think you got a couple links, maybe some YouTube on your own solo channels, maybe talking about some of these textures.
Yeah, I have a video where I'm kind of soloing up some of my parts and playing some of them. It's kind of old now, but it's all that stuff you're talking about is thinking about it like a producer.
Right.
You know, it's like, how can I decorate this room? Actually, Jason Beeler puts it really well. He's like, I build the house and these guys are my interior decorators, you know? So
right.
That's kind of the way, and I will put my stamp on it if I can, but more than anything, I just want to add parts that are just going to lift up the song and embellish it and make it just sparkle more or whatever, but just make it more.
Yeah, like I know there's a good example of a song that really, I feel like you changed, not to say they didn't change all these songs but like there's one that I think about, the song called This Picture. And I had that riff. I think we had J.D. DeServio play bass from Black Label Society on that one, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a really cool song, and I remember I just had this chunky riff. I think it was an F sharp or something like that, real like a drop D thing. And I just remember you did like this arpeggio thing over it that really made that riff really special and not so knuckle dragging the way that I sent it to you. You know what I'm saying? You kind of added a little bit of flair and a little finesse to it, and it really helped the song lift. So I think everybody should check out
those knuckles off the ground.
Yeah, man, it's like you made my knuckles, less callousy, man.
That's my specialty.
But everybody check out the stuff that Andee BlackSugar did on that Love and Scars record, and you'll see what I mean. And listen for it too. Listen to the tapestries and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's just for the Jerry King's X fans out there.
You seem to be someone who's very purposeful in all that you do. Is there something that like an itch that you feel like you haven't scratched yet, or like something that you're focused on for the future,
I don't, not specifically. The only thing I do have in the back of my mind is when I get to the point where I don't want to tour anymore, my dream retirement job would be soundtrack work. So
cool.
That would be, I think, a really cool way to. First of all, I just find that so inspiring. Just the whole idea of soundtracking.
That's super cool.
Film or TV or whatever, and I just, I know that's a crowded field and hard to get into, but that's something that's kind of in the back of my head.
It seemed like it would be a really good fit for you with all the tapestry and mood setting things that you do. I know you've done tons of that stuff. For me personally, in Darkest Daylight, and not to say that's what it would be, but didn't you do something for like some type of faux movie type of thing where somebody made a trailer and then you had to put some sounds on that and make it? Okay, what is that? Talk about that, and maybe is there a link to that? Maybe somewhere we can see it.
It's on my Instagram, but
okay.
I've done a little bit of making music for film and TV, a little bit. What you're talking about is a trailer for a movie that doesn't exist called User Has Been Disconnected. And the trailer was made by Hypno Doll, who is my partner in crime. Mm-hmm. And she sent this thing to me, and I just made a score for it. That's all it is. It's really short, but it's really cool. And I find the result of pairing music to a visual image really inspiring. Like it's just a supercharged kind of way of hearing music. Pairing it with, and it's a supercharged way of viewing a visual.
Yeah.
That like in any movie, like you take the music away.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
You don't feel half as much.
Yeah. The music kind of tells you, like, here's where you're supposed to feel this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it can be kind of hackneyed in some, here's the violin or the piano, the plaintive piano comes in. But you know what? That stuff works 100% of the time.
Yeah, because we're visual people.
Yeah. And most people don't realize the music is manipulating them, but
it totally steers you in the way that they want type of thing. Yeah.
Well, because to do it any other way would be missing the point. Because if we left it up for everybody else's interpretation, who the fuck knows what would happen?
Yeah, you know what? Like, remember, we were watching The Office, like some clips, whatever, with Michael Scott and how awesomely ridiculous that show is. So I think I seen something a long time ago on YouTube where somebody tried to turn The Office into a horror movie.
Exactly. That's
they made it
I was just going to say the trailer for The Shining with like the with like the whimsical funny music, and all of a sudden it's like
it's just different.
Yeah,
the whole thing's different. You're like, this is kind of weird,
Yeah,
but it works.
What a quirky guy Jack Torrance is. What a goofball.
What a good family man. What a good dad. You're an artist in New York City right now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you live being an artist, and what are your avenues of how you make a living doing what you do? Because you do a lot.
What a great question, Dan.
Well, thanks, babe. That's why they pay me the big bucks here.
Absolutely.
Which is
basically, I do like half a dozen different things, I think. So I teach guitar lessons. I tour with bands. I play locally in New York City with bands. I have a Patreon. I make a lot of music that I put out on Bandcamp. I make money from that.
Mm-hmm.
I make money from publishing. Which is my songs. I've a dozen songs or so licensed for use in TV. So I get checks every quarter for that. Mailbox money.
I love that for you.
What else do I have? Session work, playing on other people's music, playing guitar on other people's records. You know what I mean? Remixes.
Mm-hmm.
That's 8 things. So all of those things, ebb and flow. So no one of those things is going to pay the bills alone, usually. So what that does is it allows me to have various backup plans if something goes fallow, like during the pandemic when there was no touring, there was no playing live.
Right.
Yeah. I just amped up the other stuff, the guitar lessons, the studio work.
Yeah.
The
virtual,
making albums.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff. It's definitely like being a musician now. You have to be a multitasker. You have to be multidisciplinary. There's another word I'm not crazy about, because everybody is a multidisciplinary artist because they have an iPhone. I take pictures and I make music.
Mm-hmm. But do you really make music?
Yeah, I know. Is it sort of...
or do you let AI do it for you?
The barrier of entry is getting lower, but...
That's very true.
Anyway, so that's kind of like... All that stuff, it sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. It's not... I don't get burned out on any one thing. That's what's great about it. So I don't get burned out, and I leave myself time to be a creative person every day and make music.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm happiest. So I'm working on a BlackSugar Transmission EP right now.
Nice.
Called Damnatio Memoriae. I had to look up the pronunciation. It's a Latin phrase meaning erased from existence.
Oh, that's dark.
It's the old terminology for the ditty crop. Anyway, so I'm working on that right now. I'm probably going to put it out this fall. And so I'm playing with John Cameron Mitchell in Pittsburgh on October 3rd, doing the music of David Bowie. If you don't know who John Cameron Mitchell is, he is Hedwig of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. He's doing this Bowie tribute show.
By the way, this episode will probably pass before that or after that happens. So,
Okay.
Yeah, it's just letting people know that.
Okay, so that happened, and it was great. One of the best shows of my career. Yeah, I can't really. Beyond that, I have no idea what's on the horizon.
I love
So
that.
I have no clue, but
I don't
it'll
believe
be something.
I don't believe that.
You know what?
I just can't see it. There's something, but I can't see it.
Yeah, that's the exciting part. But, you know, until then, man, we're going to list some links right down. I don't know. I'm trying to do this thing of your Patreon.
In the description.
Yeah, in the description, we'll do that too. But we're going to like make this a really cool, fun episode where shit's going to be flying by. But that's very, very cool. Very cool.
Well, the time has flown by, and thank you for having me.
Yay! Thank you so much for. I'm so glad that we're able to do this, and I'm very excited too because this is the first time I've met you.
Yes.
Since Dan and I have been together, and it's been 11 years, so this is very exciting for me.
And
I know when I put actual numbers on it, it sounds awful, but it's not as bad because y'all talk pretty regularly.
Yeah, but you know, it's like
you know what I mean?
But she's heard your name a gazillion times, man, and it
Yeah.
makes me happy that finally she knows what I'm talking about and understands and stuff. So we
So, yes,
appreciate you,
this
Andy.
is fun.
Right here. I love it.
Yay! Well, and honestly, like COVID, since COVID's happened in 5 years, it's not real time. You know what I mean? It's like weird time.
I
So
know.
like, really, it's only been 6 years.
I know.
Right on.
Fair enough.
Well, Andy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We have so much music of yours to feature and just different shows and everything that you're doing, which we will list. But yeah, thank you so much for being a
Thanks
guest
for
on the
having
show.
me, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yay.
Keep a lookout for Andee BlackSugar and anything he's involved with. It's going to be killer.
Yes,
Yay.
sounds
All right.
great. All right, cheers, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
All right. See ya.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Nashville on the Rocks. We're so grateful for your support. If you're enjoying our content, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on social media and give us a like on iTunes, Spotify, and all your other go-to streaming sites. Your feedback is super important to us, so please leave us a review as well. Thanks so much.